So we can start by explaining how you start this company.
Okay, so we set this company, actually we started operation 15 years ago with a knitting plant that was supposed to serve our company in Italy. We had an old textile company established by my great-grandfather in 1878. So it was a very old company in Prato that started by trading in rags to be recycled. Then it processed the rags to make regenerated, recycled fabrics. And between the two world wars, the company became the third largest producer of blanket in Europe. So it was quite a nice operation, and would be very fashionable today when where recycling is back in fashion. Throughout the years, we shifted to ladies wear, ladies fashion fabric, and in the end, sportswear, technical fabrics for sportswear. So the knitting plant here was actually supposed to process synthetic yarns imported from Asia, and to make technical fabrics that would have been then finished in Italy. Unfortunately, the crisis in 2008-2009 forced us to close the operation, and was then when we decided to move with my family here to Ethiopia to start a new business. The company that was backing us in Italy was not there anymore, so we had to change completely the business. And instead of making synthetic technical fibers and fabrics, we switched the company to making natural cotton reusable bags. At the beginning, mainly for shopping. We had some good contacts in Italy, and we have been making, for the first years, we've been making reusable shoppers for these food retailers. It's actually the two biggest in Italy. The business at the beginning was quite, how can I say, went quite well, because it was the first product to substitute polybags that were then banned by these retailers before the law enforced everybody to switch to more eco-friendly products. So we enjoyed a couple of years of good production. Then other material came into the picture, and so the competition became a bit harder, and also the pressure on prices. Anyhow, in 6 years ago, we started making some bags of our own line called Afar, also destined to export. After having worked on some more constructed items for brands like Armani, like Woolrich, like Pinko, we decided to make our own line and to do our marketing, our branding, and whatever was needed to launch a range of bags in mainly in Europe, but anyhow in foreign markets. We participated to several fairs, and we have a network now of agents in most of European countries. And even though it's a niche product, it's having a good, very good acceptance. Also because we are realizing that Africa now and Ethiopia are really in, how can I say, in fashion, even though it's not proper, but people are really looking with interest at this part of the world now. So we are trying to catch the mainstream and sell the bags with all the contents it has, which means natural dyeing, local fabrics, first of all, local fabrics that are quite interesting because they are made with still most of them are made with a cotton that comes from a very interesting setup, especially northwestern part of Ethiopia. There is still a lot of traditional farming, which is made by people using basically their hands. No chemicals, very little fossil fuels, and what really matters nowadays, no irrigation. It's a precious, very clean cotton, which is probably the best made for the environment, but it's also, of course, a precious occasion of employment in remote areas where cotton grows really well. Nowadays, these are quite important subjects to tell and to sell together with the products, and we are trying now to go really to follow this pattern. As I was saying, the cotton is gene, spun and woven here in Ethiopia. We are doing the natural dyeing, mainly with soils, so we are adding no chemicals to the product, which is already very natural and very eco-friendly, and a leather that has some interesting ethical implications, because it mostly comes from adult animals that have been working with farmers for their whole life. So leather and meat and horn that we also use for the accessories, it's a true byproduct. It's not that the cows, like in most of the Western world, are grown for their meat and they are slaughtered when the rate of how do you say, of improvement in terms of weight is not interesting, but they're grown to help farmers in the outdoors, and they actually work for the whole life. Work is their main product. Then comes leather and horn that we are using. It's also a very interesting animal in terms of quality of the leather, despite having some defects that are related to a long and active life, but it is very strong and very dense of fibers. So it's a very, I would say, unique product that we are using and we are trying to promote together with the country where it comes from, of course. As I was saying, accessories are also mainly made with horn, with natural material coming from local animals, and they give a precious and quite unique touch to the products.
Well, what's your production capacity?
It's difficult to say because we are making like 1,500 to 2,500 shopping bags, which are easy products, and a few dozens.
Is that per day or per month?
That's per day, of course. And a few dozens of these bags that are sold under our own brand, where there is, aside of these very natural materials that I was talking about, there is also a lot of handwork. Both in terms of preparation, but also hand stitching, also hand boxing, you know, to make them nice and smooth and good looking for customers. So this is really a niche artisanal products.
So who are your target customers?
Our target customers. So in terms of shopping bags, they're mainly food retailers. That's where we started from, and it's still the biggest. They are still the biggest consumers of the products. But we are seeing increasing spaces in the promotional market. The promotional market that in Europe is huge, is really representing millions of products per single project. It's really big. Has been up to now served by China or by Asian producers, but mainly China, with plastic gadgets. I'm sure you've seen thousands of pens, of memory sticks, of anything you can imagine, made of plastic. Now there is a very steep change in the tastes of people and also in the exigences of consumers in seeing more natural product and less mass produced. So I think we have a very good chance now of selling not only the shopping bags, of course, because those are mainly utility products, but similar products like small pouches and items that can be used in everyday life, made with natural products and about which you can tell a story. I think that's really becoming important. And this is to talk of the products that we make on our production line, so in a relatively large scale. We are a small company. We are making a lot of operation, including printing mainly by hand. So I'm saying mass production, but it's actually something that should be called differently. In terms of our Afar line, our target customer is mainly a traveler from anywhere in the world that passes from Africa and has some strong emotional relation with the continent and with this country specifically.
So how did you say you're running a business in Ethiopia?
Running a business in Ethiopia, I see it, let's say, an interesting experience. There are challenges, of course. There are many challenges. There are opportunities. We've been talking a lot about the many opportunities that we are seeing in this country. These are probably now increasing. I mean, there are more coming, and some of them we are really focusing a lot on, which are the, I think, I could say it for what's related to our production, the base of our marketing and also the focus when we try to develop and look ahead, to understand where to go. One is uniqueness and the other one is authenticity. I think this pandemic, the coronavirus, has been somehow increasing the gap between what we have seen happening in terms of industrial development, but also environmental abuse in some highly advanced industrialized countries, and what could see a way out of the troubles that this has been causing. I read a very interesting article not long ago about how parallel the COVID virus and the environment abuse have been going, with the main difference of the speed. COVID virus has been affecting certain part of the population that have been also affected by pollution and by environmental abuse, but everything went much, much faster. So I think this is really a sign that a lot of our customers will pick up, saying that we have to change direction, and we are probably we are probably on the mainstream now. I'm talking about ourselves as a small company producing here, but for Ethiopia and for the whole continent. I think we have really to insist a lot in how the environment has been preserved in this country, in how the resources are really can be unique because of the way they are produced and because of the care that has to be taken in bringing them to the market. So what I was saying before about using our hands to make goods instead of machines, and now robots that are coming even in the leather industry, that are coming in most of the fashion business, is really tend to this, for us at least, is tending to this direction in making products unique. And we want to be as far as possible from the mass production that has been filling the markets until nowadays. The second word that we are highlighting in our communication is authenticity. A lot of people now talks about eco-friendly products. We have a lot of biological or organic cotton, which costs exactly the same or have a very little different in price nowadays with the industrial cotton that is grown with chemicals, with intensive irrigation, with use of a lot of mechanical machine, which makes no sense. Here in Ethiopia, in Africa, some concept, for what I could see and I can perceive, are truly authentic. We are talking about a leather coming from the zebu cows. The zebu cows are the progenitors of all the bovines, are almost wild animals. They are very strong, they resist in the outdoors without having any antibiotics, any chemical support, even any shelter, because they are true authentic animals and not genetically modified industrial products. So I think this is another very important feature that we have to highlight, we have to work on, we have to communicate. Communication is becoming really as important as a product is.
So what do you think about the BT cotton, which is on trial now?
The BT cotton, of course, is an occasion of having a cotton that is easier to produce, and that goes into the right direction. But again, I'm saying we have to focus on what is also, at least on what is really authentic in the country. You have to remember that the first bush domesticated cotton plant was in Nubia, so in neighboring areas. This is where we got the first small plants of cotton that we could use to make garments for human beings, and that dates a long time ago. So it's okay to go into new modern techniques and also seeds, but we should not forget of what has been traditionally grown here. Most of the farmers in Jumeirah are still using the seeds, are still producing their own seeds. So they're bringing ahead the same genetic material that has been grown for centuries here in Ethiopia. Textile can survive and can follow properly a very rapidly moving market only if it's made of a network, a web of companies that work together. Companies have to specialize on some phases and to work together with other companies so that they get a better production. The specialized companies are definitely much better in doing what they do than a company that has everything under its own roof. And it's much easier in this way to fill capacity and therefore to be more efficient as a system. If I am giving a service, let's say dyeing or printing, to 10 companies and I see that these 10 companies are not filling my capacity, I will go and look for the 11th or the 12th or the 20th until I fill up my capacity. And so everybody in the web will do so. We will manage to have much better, in the end, a much better pricing than when a department in a vertically integrated company is working for the following. This is a very important principle that I hope will gain space also here in Ethiopia, and since there are many textile companies, I hope that this can really work out well and enable all of us to work better together to get the right final result, to have it at the right price, because nowadays we see that most of the products that are coming here for many reasons are more expensive than our international, especially Asian competition. And that we also gain in flexibility. Will be easier, we'll have an easier time in adapting to the changes and the trends of the fashion industry.
Maybe my last question would be that there are a lot of industries who are producing with the natural inputs. So what makes your product different?
So let me say that first of all, the fact that there are many industries is we are not perceiving it as a competition. The world is big, the market is big, and there is space for all of us. So we are not really now looking to our competition, especially the local competition, but we are trying to do our best to understand which are the trends. We are occupying niches. We are trying as much as possible to understand what is happening in the rest of the world, and try to follow that. Second of all, we are trying to invest as much as possible on, especially for our brand, Afar, on natural dye, which is something very, very important for us. We are using no chemicals at all. So it's really a very clean and modern process that limits the range of color that we can use, but gives us, opens us a lot of door for communication and to target consumers that are, environmentally conscious. So this is one of the things that we are trying to do, and we are trying also to give to our product a style that combines a lot of Ethiopian contents together with some Italian styling in order to give to our customers that I said are mainly travelers, the ones we are targeting are mainly travelers, that can buy something that reminds them of their experience, of their travel, of their being in Africa, but is not too ethnical. It can be easily used in everyday's life. So this is mainly where we are trying to go.